I just kind of wanted to start out with introducing reviewer, why we're hosting this webinar, and then kind of roll into our topic from there. So, with that being said, Reviewer is an applicant management platform. So, essentially, any program where you are intaking any kind of application, we can run it within Reviewer. So, that can be anything from scholarships to grant programs to awards, different contests, competitions, call for speakers, abstracts, anything of that nature. If you are intaking an application and judging or scoring it, then we can run it here. And over the years, we have ran thousands of different grant and scholarship programs. So we have kind of compiled some things that we have seen work for a lot of our clients within their programs, and build you a little checklist to kind of go through and get everything set up before your programs actually start. Now we know you're kind of coming up on your peak season for scholarships and grants in the upcoming months. So we just kind of wanted to lay out a checklist for you to get you prepared for your upcoming program seasons. So I'll just give you a little intro to me. My name is Callie, and I run all of our marketing here at Reviewer. And I'm just kind of coming to you today just with some of the best practices we've heard from clients, but also just through research in the space as well. And I would like to note that the chat is open. So if you have any questions as we're going along, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll just kind of answer as I go. So let's go ahead and jump straight into the checklist. So I kind of wanted to start out with why this preparation matters. Here at Reviewer, we are very big fans of prepping as much as you can before your program actually starts, before you are taking applications. Once you start getting into the crazy season, you're getting applications, you're setting up your judges, you're doing all the things. It can kind of get crazy. So as much prep as you can get beforehand, the better. And from our own clients, we have seen when that preparation goes in beforehand, we have seen 60% less admin time spent on your program while it is going on. So that is your guys' time saved, because we know typically what we've seen. These programs are not the entirety of your job. So trying to run this program as well as you can, but take up the least amount of time is super important. So you have time for, I guess, all the other things going on. And then second, we have seen a 3 times faster review process for your judges, and also for you. And then lastly, a 40% higher completion rate for your applicants. At the end of the day, we typically want to see our programs grow from year to year, get more applicants, provide more impact, either scholarship wise or grant wise. So getting those applicants all the way through your form and applying is really what we want to move towards. So I will move on to our agenda for today, and just outline the kind of 6 pieces of the checklist that we're going to go into much more in depth. So the first one is optimizing application intake. So this is anything that has to do with your applicants and their whole process from the time they apply and submit and all of those things. The second piece of our checklist is preparing your review panel, making sure that your judges are ready to go before your program starts. The third one is fair and defensible decisions. This is being able to back your award winners' decisions, who you pick, and know that it was as fair and as honest of a process for all applicants as possible. The fourth one is post-award management. So this is after your grant or your scholarship is given out, the relationship between you and your grantee or your scholar, and kind of what that looks like and how you can prep beforehand for that. And then 5 is building a realistic timeline for your program. And then we are going to finish off with common pre-launch mistakes. So this is mistakes that we've seen lots of clients and programs make before they're even start in taking applications. All right, so moving into our first one, which is all about the application intake section. So the first piece that we would like to see kind of set up and have seen really helpful within Reviewer is eligibility screening. So oftentimes what we see happening is applicants will come into your form, they will fill out your entire application, submit it, send it off to you, you will start reviewing it and realize that this applicant isn't even qualified for your scholarship or your grant at all. They can't even receive this award. So that one is a lot of time on the applicant's end and on your end to kind of have to sift through all the applications. So a solution to that is setting up an eligibility screening. This is just a couple questions at the beginning of your form, and based on their answers, it will tell you if they qualify or not, and they will then get jumped into the form or not if they are ineligible. The second thing to set up and think about beforehand is cleaner form design. So try to make your form as simple as possible for your applicants and most efficient. One thing that we have seen really useful is the ability to save and log out. Oftentimes we see that if your applicant starts their application, doesn't have something they need, doesn't have time to finish it, and leaves, and there is no saving feature and all of their work is lost, typically we don't see them coming back into the form and completing the entire thing. So those are quite a few submissions that end up getting lost. Our third thing is supporting documents. So know what you want to require from these applicants and just making sure that we balance the burden of these things on our applicants, make sure we're not asking too much. It also is an option that once your applicant is awarded, if you need more uploads and documents and things from them, you can ask for it then, rather than asking all of your applicants that may come in. And then the last thing is smart fields. So this is using conditions to either make their forms longer or shorter. So for example, if they answer yes on a question, they might get 3 more questions that pop up. If they answer no, then they don't. That is kind of a way to only make the application as long as it needs to be for each specific applicant. So just to kind of show you guys what that looks like, I know it's kind of hard with me just explaining it. I'll give you a little bit of a visual within Reviewer. So this is our application process. This is where your applicants will go to when they go to apply for your program. If they have an existing account, they can log in or they can create an account right here. As they go into the form, there is a save and log out button function. So if they need to go back and get anything, they are able to do that. And here is your eligibility screening. So this is just a slew of questions. This is kind of a long one on the longer side, but this is actually able to identify if the applicant is qualified or not. Now, if you run multiple grant programs, it might pop them to a page that looks like this that shows them exactly what they are eligible for, and they can apply for multiple or one, however you want to set that up. Or if they are not eligible, it will pop them to a little screen that says, I'm sorry, you are not eligible for this. Thank you. And if you just have one, it'll pop them straight into your form. So your form looks like this. You can kind of have text boxes, lots of question and answers, and then here are your file uploads. So this is where your applicants can upload whatever files or things that you might need for your applications. So now we are going to move into our second piece, which is arguably one of your most important pieces of your program beforehand, which is preparing your review panel. So these are your judges. Typically, what we see is most of your judges are volunteers within the organization, helping you out, things like that. So if they are donating their time to your program, we want to make it as easy and consistent for your judges as possible. So, to do beforehand to kind of prepare your judging panel is number one, recruit and onboard early. So, we recommend not waiting till you're already in taking applications to set up who your judges are. We recommend that you have those set up before you start. And then clearly outlining your criteria and your timelines so they know exactly kind of what they're getting themselves into. The second one being log in early and get familiar. If you are using a platform like Reviewer or have multiple different tools kind of pulled together, having them log in and make sure that they have no issues before your program even gets started. Sometimes we see with judging is they will wait till judging actually starts to log in. And if they have any issues, maybe they put in the wrong email, things like that, they wouldn't know until they were already judging, and then you have to go in and fix it, which just kind of slows down and takes away from their time that they have to judge. The third one is calibration sessions. So this is actually you guys or your board or whoever it may be, sitting down with your review team and kind of calibrating. So that is trying to make sure that your scores stay consistent. You give them a clear outline of what you're looking for. You may also give examples of maybe past applicants or what you're looking for and consider a good application versus a bad application. I'm gonna just kind of get everybody aligned in that moment. Your fourth one is smart assignment and work overload. So overall, we do not want to overload our judges with too many applications. So making sure we're not distributing too many so the judges have time to get them all done. And then smart assignment, being able to auto assign to your judges and just kind of have them go out automatically. Applicants get assigned to judges and things like that. Oftentimes we see assignments is where the kind of bias or unfairness can come in. Randomizing the judges obviously makes it fair for all applicants, but it also helps. Typically, what we see when people are assigning judges is they will just go maybe A to Z down the line of all their applicants and assign them to judges. So, what happens oftentimes is if their application is getting judged 3 times by 3 different judges, if their last name is Z, they are normally the last person the judge ends up judging, which obviously, when judges start with number one, they are going to give much better attention and just overall score, maybe a lot slower, more pay attention to detail than their last application. And then the last one is clear instructions in an intuitive tool. So having opportunities for them to ask questions, give clear instructions, and make sure they are all on the same page. So now I'm going to kind of show you what some of that looks like. Okay, so let's go into creating our review workflows. So when you go in, you can kind of see all of your applications and you can import your judges. Can click over to your judges and you can do bulk action. So here you can kind of auto assign your judges to applicants. You can completely randomize it. You can make sure that each applicant is scored 4 times, 2 times, whatever you're kind of looking for, and it will randomly assign them out to the judges, and they will get notified that they have their submissions. And then if you have some specific applicants that you want to assign to judges, or you see some issues, you can kind of go in and manually fix them from there. You can also manually assign from in here. This is our review and selection experience. So we will go there after number 3. So our third piece of our checklist is fair and defensible funding decisions. So as we know, these programs are ultimately about the applicants, and we want to make sure that it is as fair and unbiased of a process for your applicants as we possibly can. So that kind of starts with defining your framework. So establishing your criteria beforehand, kind of your why, based on your organization's values, your goals, what you're looking for in an applicant. The second one is multi-phase reviews. So this is an option if you have lots of applicants or kind of want to go more extensively with your applicants. You might have a first round and then have applicants who make it past the first round be able to go in and add more information or uploads or whatever you need, and then they would move into the second round. I'm gonna just do multiple phases of judging in that way. The third one is panel deliberation. We have seen this work really well for um, maybe some programs where your judges will judge all of them. You'll get your top 10, and then you'll go in for panel deliberation and they will kind of choose. We also see having your judges maybe deliberate with each other as they're going through them can be helpful to make sure that they're kind of all still on the same page. And then the fourth one is score normalization. And this one is a big one that we see. So, what we have seen quite a bit is the difference between your judges' scores. So, I may be a judge and I am a super tough scorer. And then my coworker, she may also be judging and she may be more of an easy scorer. So, if you're an applicant, obviously you want to get my coworker who judges a little bit easier than I do. So, I'll kind of show you guys a way to normalize that score. So this is our judging experience. So this is what your judge would see when they click into their applications. So they have their application right here with all the question answered alongside as their scorecard. As they're numbering and clicking, they will see the total points. It'll add up that they are awarding. They can open any file uploads, attachments right within here and take a peek at those. And then here is your managed submissions. So this is what you will see. So this is an applicant right here. And as you see, here are all of their scores. So with score normalization, like I kind of talked about, this is something that reviewer does automatically for you. But I laid it out in a spreadsheet so you can kind of understand. So as you see right here, we have Judge Judy. Her average score was a 23.8. Now, over here, you have Judge Tony, and his average score was a 34.1. Now, those are drastically different. So, one is clearly scoring much, much higher than the other on average. So, how we kind of combat that is for Judge Judy, anybody that scores a 23.8 is considered a 1. And anything above that is above a 1 and goes up from there. So it might be a 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and anything below is underneath that one. Same for Judge Tony. So then you would take all of your scores based on your judge's average score to find your true highest score. That way, if there is any discrepancies between your judges, you can kind of combat that with this score normalization. Again, this is not something you have to do in Reviewer. This is something that Reviewer is able to just do for you, but this is just a way to kind of lay it out. And again, feel free to drop questions in the chat as I'm kind of going along here. All right, so number 4 is our post-award recipient management. So this is kind of a good thing to set up beforehand because once your winners are awarded, we want to give them like expectations and have the proper communication to kind of get the things that we need to them and be able to give them what we need. So things to set up are acceptance packets and enrollment verification. So if you have all these things that you would like to give to them, making sure you have those ready, and then have a spot where they can verify all of the things that you might need. So within Reviewer, um, after your winners are selected, they can actually come back in and upload things weeks, months, years later. If you want to follow up with proof of enrollment or GPA or tax documents, if you're doing grants, things like that, you can go back in. That's also a good opportunity to kind of gather some of your impact reporting. So they might come in and write letters or upload videos or things like that, showcasing the impact of your scholarship and grant for them. So that is a great way. You can also upload surveys in there, things like that. And then overall, just being able to communicate with them and having within Reviewer, you can set up automatic messages. So if you have things that need to be uploaded that they haven't done yet, you can have automatic emails go out that will remind them, hey, you haven't uploaded this letter, things like that to kind of keep them on track. And then you don't have to keep emailing and emailing and things getting lost. All right, so this is building a realistic timeline. So, to build a realistic timeline, we want to start with step one, which is work backwards from your award date. So, pick which day that you want to award your winners on and kind of move back from there and set all of your timelines based on that. With that, moving into step two is build buffer time. So, 3 to 5 days, maybe more or less, depending on your program, as buffer time that you have as buffer time. You may list certain days as your cutoffs, but have those buffer days in case something goes wrong with judging, something goes wrong with your applicants. Judges need more time to get stuff done. I'm just giving an opportunity for kind of things to happen and get right back on track. Now, step three is to set your milestones. So that is setting things like application close date, review completion, finalist selection, and everything in between. If you're doing multi-phase rounds, that as well. And then four is communicate early and often with all internal people within your organization, board members, extended partners, all of that. Make sure everybody is on the same page with your timeline, knows what's going to happen before your program even starts. So I will pop you into our admin dashboards. You can kind of see what your milestones could look like. So this is the reviewer admin dashboard for your program. So you can see how many days are left in your program, how many entries you have, kind of where the status of all of those submissions are at over here. Um, and then how many forms have been uploaded, things like that. And then right here are your milestones. So as you can see, as you move along through your process, it will kind of move with you, but you can kind of lay out when your applications close and when your judging starts, things like that. So this is just a good way to kind of keep up with everything that's going on within your program. Perfect. And lastly, I'm going to finish off with common pre-launch mistakes. These are mistakes that happen before you start taking applications that we see kind of set back or cause some issues with programs. The first one being poor end-to-end testing. So we recommend that you test your process all the way from application to awarding your recipients and your recipients coming back in and turning stuff into you. And make sure beforehand that every single piece of that process is working exactly how you want it before you get started. The second one is high barrier applications, making sure that your form is not too lengthy or extensive or asking for too many file uploads. Try to make it as simple as you can with also gathering the information that you need for your applicants. Then we'll move on to disconnected systems. So sometimes we will see things like using not necessarily a tool, but lots of tools meshed together. So these are things like you might have Google Docs, you might have spreadsheets, emails, things going back and forth in between judges. And that's just a good way for things to kind of get lost in those manual processes because you're having to move everything from A to B, also with your judges. So it's a lot of manual work on your end. It's going to cost you a lot of time in your program. Um, as well as just causing issues with things getting lost in spam. That leaves a lot of room for human error as you're kind of running through your program. And then the next thing is underestimating review time. We see this happen quite often where we're not necessarily giving reviewers a long enough time period to finish these. And so possibly giving them a little bit of a buffer that you kind of have in your back pocket in case they need it. Or just going through yourself and scoring one of these forms to see how long it takes, or in your deliberation kind of meetings or calibration sessions, talking with your judges on what their schedule looks like, how much time they think they can get this done in, and then add some time to that to kind of give them enough time to get all of them done. And then misaligned stakeholders. So this is board, staff, reviewers, things like that, all not being on the same page before you launch, which once your program is launched and applications are being taken, it's kind of hard to change a lot of pieces of your program from that point on. So making sure everybody is caught up to date before you get started. And then the last one being post award afterthought. So just kind of leaving what's going to happen with your scholars or your grantees once they're awarded as an after the program problem. But that can be a little frustrating for you and for your applicant. And if you can kind of have that stuff ready beforehand, you're able to distribute things faster. Your applicants are able to get things back to you quicker. And it's just overall a smooth process for everyone involved. All right. Well, if we don't have any questions, I just wanted to thank you guys for coming to today's webinar and be on the lookout for our follow-up to come out. Thank you.